Откуда?
Мариуполя.
Как вы смогли выехать?
Помывались. Российский войска. Большое спасибо.
Подвала нас вытащили.
Почему? А украинская армия не помогала вам?
Украинская армия стреляла по людям.
Прям в дом.
Я не хочу.
Это ад. Стреляли по нас. Азов стрелял, Азов. Мы это лично видели. Я лично видела. Пусть все знают, пусть весь мир знает. Азов и правый сектор нас убивал. Просто-напросто, тупо, понимаете?
Let's be honest. The sad reality is that the Ukrainian military targets civilians on an all too frequent basis. Not only have we heard report after report from eyewitnesses to this brutal reality, but we can see it for ourselves from the countless videos coming out of eastern Ukraine, many of which are too graphic for me to show you on this platform. The question before us is not whether the Ukrainian military targets civilians, but why the Ukrainian military targets civilians. And that's the question I hope to answer in today's video. Welcome to Religion, Sex, and Politics, your place to talk about the three things we're not supposed to talk about. If you haven't already, subscribe and ring the bell. And if you like our content, help out the channel by sharing this video with others. It turns out that there are two reasons why the Ukrainian military targets Ukrainian civilians. The first serves a military purpose, which actually worked rather effectively during the battle for Mariupol early in the conflict. Ukraine staged a military strike on the city of Donetsk, a strike that intentionally targeted civilians. The effect of the attack was that the vital Donetsk militia units operating in Mariupol withdrew from the battle to reinforce Donetsk. Not only did this allow the Ukrainian army to drag out the battle in Mariupol for many more weeks, but the forces that returned to Donetsk were not sufficient to push back the Ukrainian forces on the edge of the city. Indeed, to this very day, Ukraine continues to target civilians in Donetsk in hopes of drawing forces away from the pivotal battle looming just north of Donetsk at Slavyansk and Kramatorsk. The second reason why the Ukrainian army targets civilians is sadly much more sinister. The Ukrainian civilians being killed at the hands of the Ukrainian army are ethnic Russian Ukrainians. This means that they are descended from the original Russians that settled in eastern and southern Ukraine, and that they continue to speak the Russian language rather than Ukrainian. Since 2014, a wave of ethnic nationalism has taken hold of Ukraine, particularly among the ethnic Ukrainians who live in the northern and western parts of the country. Tragically, this ethnic nationalism has expressed itself in an ethnic Ukrainian chauvinism that sees the ethnic Russian half of Ukraine as not really Ukrainian. And this is why ethnic nationalist Ukrainians and the Ukrainian military are more than happy to target the Ukrainian civilians who are ethnic Russians. Despite the fact that the mainstream media and international institutions refuse to expose and condemn Ukraine's targeting of civilians, the tactic is beginning to backfire on Ukraine. First off, militia forces have learned from their mistake at Mariupol and are no longer allowing this tactic to pull them away from the main fight. Although Donetsk came under severe fire during the battles for Severodonetsk and Lysychansk, militia forces continued to fight alongside the Russians and were able to capture both cities, which taken together with their suburbs were the same size as Mariupol. And they did it in just a matter of days, not weeks. Furthermore, if Ukraine wants to recapture all these territories from Russia, targeting civilians will do nothing to win back the hearts and minds of these now alienated citizens. Indeed, Russia is being hailed as liberators by many of these very civilians. In fact, it's been reported that thousands of such Ukrainian civilians helped provide Russia with the targeting positions of the Ukrainian forces in Severodonetsk and Lysychansk, which greatly helped to speed up the Russian advance and ultimate victory in these cities. Such vast support from Ukrainian civilians helping the Russians might be the reason why Ukraine has subsequently ordered the removal of civilians in and around Slavyansk and Kramatorsk. What's more, a brand new infantry brigade of Ukrainians is now headed to the front, filled with men alienated by the Kiev regime and now fighting alongside Russians. And new reports are now coming out that Russia is building 16 new infantry battalions comprised solely of volunteer Ukrainians. All told, the Ukrainian tactic of targeting civilians is blowing up in its face. While it might have initially served a short-term military goal, it's ultimately helping Russia win the war. It's just one more proof of the age-old saying that in the end, evil defeats itself. Feel free to drop us a comment about today's video. Give us a like and share this video if you enjoyed today's content. It's a great way to support the channel and help inform others. Thanks so much for watching, and see you next time.